Now, why in the hell does one get into the construction industry? Well, we all have our own reasons, but I grew up with my father owning his own handyman drywall and painting business. And when I was about 8, competent enough to, I guess, clean out mud pans, sometimes mix mud pans. I was probably 10 years old, maybe not 8, but competent enough to do some things. He would take me to job sites on the weekends. So I would go with him. I grew up doing that stuff. Anytime he would do remodeling around the house, I would help him. He made sure that he's like, you're not going to be one of those who doesn't know how to use a screwdriver or a hammer or screw in a light bulb. So we always made sure that anytime we were doing anything, building desk, I always would use the drills, use the screws and hammers. And when I was about probably 12 or 13, I would go work with him on the summers, and I was old enough to where he would actually pay me because I could paint. You could say paint that wall, and I could get a roller out, and I could roll that wall. I could clean the roller. I was able to lay the plastic out. I wouldn't spray anything. I wouldn't really mud anything because I wasn't capable of doing that. But I would paint, right? And he would pay me. I would get money for it. So I would always do that during the summer. And before, what would you be? If I was 12, 13, I'd be in like 7th, 8th grade middle school. I would always look fresh coming into the school year, right? I would get myself new sunglasses, new hat, even though it's funny, you can't even wear those at school. But I'd get myself a nice pair of Levi's, I'd get myself a little button-up shirt, nice sweater, a belt. I always thought those were cool. So I would do that on summers, and I'd go into school looking fresh. And, I liked having the money. I liked being able to buy myself stuff, go into the mall, and not having to go, hey, can I have $20? And them going, here you go, here's all you get. So I enjoyed that. And during high school, it got to a point to where I don't know, I think we all get to this point. You start slacking, you don't care, you're not really doing anything. Pretty much I was half-assing it. I was in advanced math, so I was doing okay in certain things. Math, I was acing all the tests. Certain classes, science, I was doing really well. History, I loved history. But English, language, I really didn't turn all that stuff in. So my dad told me, he goes, look, if you're going to half-ass anything, just don't do it. Don't put forth the effort. Always do something 100%. He used to tell me that growing up as a kid, pulling weeds, right? I'd pull like 2/3 of the weeds and come back in because I'm tired. Oh, Dad, I pulled them all. And he'd walk back out there and just be like, why are you half-assing it? Don't half-ass it. You're better than this. And as a kid, I hated it, but now that I'm an adult, it's like, I appreciate that. Don't do it. But so anyways, so I was sophomore year, hit 16, it was actually 15. I had a month to go. It was February 14th, Valentine's Day. And my ex at the time, I had brought her flowers, and she was like, all right, thank you. We talked, we hugged. I thought, we would have kissed, and we didn't. It was actually not my ex, but my girlfriend at the time. Anyways, and she had to go somewhere. Later, I found out that she was, met her other boyfriend, got flowers from him too. So I was just like, fuck this, right? Just some shit happened, fuck this. So I just ended up leaving, saying, all right, Dad, I'm going to work. And it was funny because he's like, if you're going to do this, you're going to get 2 jobs, you're going to pay rent, and you're going to pay a food bill. So I didn't just get the fuck off the hook, right? I actually had to pay rent, had to pay a food bill. I remember he's like, all right, first month's rent's due now. So I had a drum set. I'd actually sell that drum set for like $300 at the time in order to make that rent. And then I had a food bill a little bit later on. And so yeah, I began just doing painting. And I would, on the side, I remember I'd take sheets of drywall and start trying to texture, because the big thing back then was skip trowel. And this is from Arizona, and we would do a lot of the home builders out here, they were getting into the nicer, it was the skip trowel. Nowadays it's smooth wall or Santa Fe, but back then it was skip trowel. And I would just practice that, and eventually I got to do that, and I started patching, and I was doing good at that. And I never really wanted to actually do that because I wasn't making much money. I was making a lot when I was 16 and dropped out. I was like, this is great, because I was making a little bit more minimum wage, doing things, working a lot of hours, putting 60, 70 hours a week in, working, 12-hour days, 6 days a week. It was great at the time, but then you start getting to 18, 19, 20, where everybody's graduating, and you're just like, shit, this is all I'm doing. Everybody's excited about their life. Yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We're going to go to school, college, I'm going to ASU. Started to get down on myself, right? Because it was like, well, what am I going to do? I'm going to be painting. I'm going to do drywall. That's not, the money was okay, but I just didn't enjoy it because I guess it was cookie cutter. I was doing a lot of just punch work, right? We would go into houses and year-end warranty work, I should say. So if you had cracks in your around your door frames and around your windows, we'd go in, VM out, put the fiber tape in, float it, and then we'd go ahead, texture it, and sand it, and paint it. So I got good at that, and if the paint didn't match, sometimes the home builder would just, we'd have to feather it out best we could, or the home builder would say, yeah, go ahead and paint that whole wall. So we got pretty good at that, having to label the paint, right? Because obviously if you paint that whole wall and it's not matching the rest of the house, you got to make sure because you can't use the homeowner's paint because it's there for them. So that's just, how it is. So that's kind of how I got into the industry. And I always just wanted to expand and get into more commercial work. And, we just kept moving, kept going. Got the, KB license, so now we're commercial residential. And now we also have a electrical license as well as an HVAC mechanical license. We don't have our plumbing license yet, but so we've always just expanded, kept moving forward, and now we do mainly commercial. And if we do residential, it's usually for a home builder as a sub or just, a specialty trade. And if we do other things, it's, multifamily, like apartment buildings, condos, hotels, but mainly commercial. And that's how I got into the industry. So no matter how you feel about that video, please let me know, comment. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, like it. I'd love to hear back from you, maybe get you on, hear your side. And we're going to be orchestrating a list of people that I want to interview, and I've worked with them in the past, but they're pretty much all local. So if you're from around the world, want to reach out, please feel free. Again, like, comment, subscribe. Take care.